All right, so unfortunately, I was one of the idiots on launch night for the Switch 2 who sat outside of a GameStop and basically waited the entire day to get my hands on one of these. Thankfully, I secured a Mario Kart bundle. You're seeing the Mario Kart gameplay in the background. Now that I've been using it for a few days, I'm finally, I think, ready to give my full, honest review of the console. I'm just going to jump straight into this, no beating around the bush. The big question, and it's probably why you clicked on this video, is the Switch 2 overpriced? And my honest answer to that would be no. And keep in mind, I'm specifically talking about the console itself. I'm not talking about the JoyCons, the controllers, the games, any of that. I'm specifically talking about the console by itself. And I don't think the console is overpriced. And don't worry, we're going to get into the controllers and the games and all of that because I think everything else virtually is overpriced. But the console itself is not. And I want to explain why I think that. Because when you compare the Switch 2 to other handheld consoles, the price actually makes a lot of sense if you think about it. It's $450. If you look at like the base Steam Deck, that's around $400. The MSI Claw is around $525. And keep in mind, that's on sale right now when I just looked up this price. Or if you look at something like the Asus, the ROG Ally, that's around $1,000. Yeah, like the pricing for these handhelds gets a little crazy. And while I like those systems, I don't think they're crazy overpriced either. The Switch 2 kind of stands out to me because it's not trying to be like a Windows computer jammed into a fucking handheld body, which is like what a lot of those are. It has its own like custom operating system and it's specifically built for the Switch and it runs very smoothly. Like you're getting 1080p at 120 hertz in handheld and you have HDR, or you're getting 4K 60 FPS with HDR when you actually have it docked into a monitor or a TV or whatever. So from a raw performance and user experience standpoint, when you actually think about it like that, $450 I think is a very fair price for what the Switch 2 is actually offering. Now here is where it all falls apart. If you thought this whole video was just going to be me dick riding Nintendo and defending all of their stupid decisions, I virtually disagree with the pricing on everything else with this console. So let's start with the games, right? At launch, there is literally only one new game that is worth playing, and that is Mario Kart World. You're watching gameplay from it right now in the background, and no doubt about it, it's a great game. It's really fun. I'm not gonna lie, I've been very fucking addicted to it, but let's be honest, like, if there's only one new game, is it really worth buying an entire new console for? Absolutely not. And when you look at the rest of the launch lineup, it's just reheated leftovers. Like it's dead ass. You got that Chinese food left over in the fridge, you throw it in the microwave for 45 seconds, and you're eating that fucking slop. That's what the new Tears of the Kingdom is, the Switch 2 edition, or the Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition, or if you want to look at like Mario Odyssey. That's all what it is. It's slightly upgraded, repackaged versions of Switch 1 games, and it's lazy, it's disappointing, and it's bullshit. And if it was free, I could look at that and go, okay, you're giving me Switch 2 editions for free of games that I already own. That's kind of cool. But it's the fact that they're charging money for that is fucking ridiculous. They're charging like $10 to get Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild on the Switch 2 edition. That's absurd. I don't know how much Mario Odyssey costs. It's probably more than that knowing Nintendo, but that's ridiculous. And when you look at the comparisons between the Switch 2 edition and the normal games, there's barely even a jump. So charging money for that is fucking insane. So let's talk about the hardware. And this is probably the best thing about the Switch 2 in my opinion. The console itself is actually a pretty big upgrade. The new JoyCons are bigger, they are better, they are more comfortable. Basically the entire system as a whole, everything got better about it. The original Switch, I literally could not play the original Switch in handheld because it was just so small and cramped and the controllers just felt so cheap and shitty. I couldn't hold it in my hand for like more than 10 minutes without my hands cramping up. It felt like shit, okay? With the Switch 2, the Joy-Cons and the console itself are much bigger. It's actually much more comfortable to hold the damn thing. So I have no issue playing in handheld now, especially with the 1080p, 120 hertz in handheld. That feels great. The old console, the Switch 1 only being 720p in handheld, that was another reason I just couldn't tolerate it. So for what it is, it's actually a pretty good upgrade with the hardware here. The console does feel good, especially in handheld mode now. And on the software side, if you're wondering about the UI, it's basically the exact same as the original Switch. It's a little more colorful. There's really nothing different. The main thing that they're pushing with this thing, and I have to talk about this new game chat feature, and I'm putting that in air quotes. You can't fucking see me, but I'm putting the air quotes in the air, okay? It is literally just a ripped off, shittier version of Discord. I tried it one time just to give it a chance with one of my friends, and I will never touch that shit again a day in my life. I swear. I do not get why Nintendo just insists on building their own like weird ass half-baked versions of stuff that already works perfectly fine. Just integrate actual Discord. Xbox did it over the past couple years, then PlayStation did it. Why can't Nintendo do that? Okay? And if the game chat shit was free, I would probably look at that and go, whatever, it's ass, but fine. I'm fucking dying, Jesus. It's the fact that you actually need to pay for the Switch Online membership to use that shit. I know they're doing the free trial thing right now for everyone to try it out. You actually have to pay money going forward for that shit. That is ridiculous. Discord is free. You can use it on your phone. Everything about the quality is better, whether it's the video quality, the mic quality. Everything is better, and it's free. And they're charging you money to use Nintendo Game Chat. So do yourself a favor. Never even bother opening that menu. Just use Discord and fuck off. That's the best thing I can tell you to do right now. But let's talk about the pricing a little bit more here. And I'm going to start with the Pro Controller. Let's just cut through the bullshit. This thing is criminally overpriced. $85 for what is basically just a cheap, shittier Xbox Elite Series controller. It even has the little back buttons trying to copy it in the same spots. Stop it. Like, the controller is fine. It just feels very cheap. It's made out of very cheap plastic. It doesn't feel quality. $85 for a shittier Xbox controller. Stop it, bro. Like, that is the most outrageous thing I have ever seen in my fucking life. Now, to be fair to it, it is a good controller. I've been using it to play Mario Kart. It feels great, but there is no excuse for this thing to be $85 fucking dollars. I got scammed, okay? Let me explain why I bought this thing. I didn't know it was $85, but I got to the damn guy. I finally got inside the GameStop at like midnight after I waited like 6 hours, and I wanted the Pro Controller. I basically had to buy it because they weren't in stock anywhere else. The guy only had a few of them. I was like, fuck it, I have to buy this. When I saw $85 come up for that, I just wanted to kill myself, bro. But I had no other option, so that's why I bought it. It's a good controller. Do not waste $85 on it. Like, Jesus. But going full circle back to the games here, I can't believe I didn't bring this up, but I'll get to it here. The pricing of the actual games is another major issue. Mario Kart World costs $80 fucking dollars. 80 bonaroos, okay? The game is fun. I'm not denying that. I'm having a lot of fun playing the game. Like I said, I'm fucking addicted to it. But $80, that is absolutely insane. It's greedy. And the worst part is now Xbox and PlayStation are going to see that and go, wait, you're charging these fucking idiots $80 for a basic game and they're going to pay it? Oh shit, and then they're gonna start jacking all their prices up. This is gonna happen within the next year at the latest. Maybe even within the next 6 months, all games are gonna cost like $80. Especially with the tariffs, just get ready for that bullshit, okay? And this isn't the only game that's gonna cost $80. The new Donkey Kong game, I think that's called Donkey Kong Bonanza, if I'm not mistaken about that. I don't really play fucking Donkey Kong. That looks like a cool game, you know, I won't lie. $80 for that, they can take it up the ass. I am not paying $80 for a Donkey Kong game. But that's how Nintendo is going to keep going forward with their first party games. That is absurd. $80 fucking dollars. And that doesn't include tax. Keep that in mind. You go out to the store, you buy a game for $80, you're paying anywhere between $85 and $90 for a game. What the fuck? And again, that doesn't include these stupid upgrade packs for Switch 1 games like I was talking about. I already got into that. That shit is ridiculous. Let me tell you all something right now. If you have a good PC like I do, download Yuzu, the emulator. I don't care. I know it got banned. You can still find it on the internet. I think I'm far enough in the video where Nintendo won't come for my ass. Download Yuzu, find it on GitHub or whatever other website has Yuzu. Download the fucking ROM for the games and run them on your computer. There are free 4K texture packs you can use that's better than Nintendo's quality that are made by one fucking person sitting in their basement. And it's free. Okay, it's free. And Nintendo has the balls to charge me $10 to get like 5 more FPS and slightly upgraded textures? What the fuck? Like, no. Use Yuzu. Do not buy those goddamn upgrades. I could understand it if you don't have a good computer that can emulate whatever. But if you have at least an average gaming computer, please God, use an emulator. Use Yuzu, please. So at the end of the day here, the Switch 2 is basically just the Switch Pro. Like, let's be real, that's essentially what the fucking thing is. And that's fine. The original Switch didn't need a total reinvention. Like, they don't have to come out here and reinvent the fucking wheel. Like, the Switch 1, it was a good console. It was just held back by how underpowered it was, and it really needed some upgrades and like a whole overhaul, basically. And that's what we got here. But with Nintendo being Nintendo, you know, aka fucking retarded, they had to overcharge for everything and just make the whole launch stupid and much more frustrating than it should have been. But yeah, I mean, it does have really good hardware for the price. Mario Kart World being the only game is annoying, but it is very fun. I might do a separate review just for Mario Kart World if any of you, actually give a shit, because despite the price, it is actually a very fun game. But yeah, final verdict here, should you buy a Switch 2? I think if you can get the Mario Kart bundle and you're actually going to play Mario Kart, it is a pretty good deal. You're getting it for like $50, the game with the console, so honestly, not a bad deal. If you like Mario Kart like I do, that is a pretty good deal. So there is my final verdict there. But yeah, on that note, I'm out of here, people. Let me know if any of you actually managed to pick up a Switch 2. Did you camp outside of a GameStop like a fucking Redditor, basically like I did? I was surrounded by Redditors there. That might have to be a story time for the amount of NPCs I ran into at that fucking GameStop. But yeah, on that note, I'm out of here, people. I love you all. Thank you for watching to the end, and peace.